Hey, everybody, welcome. Your saltwater guide, Captain Dave Hansen. We have a great show for you today. I'm super excited to bring these people on the show. Jaime Lee is an absolute rock star. Her husband, Brian, is no slouch either, and I'm happy to have both of them on the show today. And I was lucky enough to meet Jaime at War Heroes on Water, so this lady absolutely loves to fish. Her whole life wraps around fishing. Plus, she's a veteran. She's definitely a hero in my eyes and in a lot of people's eyes. But first of all, gang, we got to thank Deckhand Sports for allowing us to do this show every Friday. Dave and the gang over at Deckhand Sports makes it so that we can do this show by producing some of the greatest products for the fishing industry. As far as kill bags go, they're second to none. There is nobody that even gets close to what they're doing over there. The way these bags are designed, you're going to be blown away. We're going to show you a cool little sizzle video a little later in the show about the kill bag. And then Brian and Jaime will be introduced to the bag at the same time most of you are introduced to, and I'm sure we'll be shipping one to these guys by the time the show's over. Gang, you can check us out on YouTube. You can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and then make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button and the notification button so you never miss when we go live. Last night's live show at Catalina was absolutely incredible. Justin got the job done quick. Full limits of lobsters for his crew, and he even got to take home 4 nice lobsters. So absolutely phenomenal night, and the audience was huge. I think we had over 20,000 people watch the show across all social media. So thank you very much for that, everybody. And hey, without any further ado, let's get the show started. Come on in here, Jaime and Brian. Let's go. Hey, guys, welcome.
How's it going?
I am super excited to have you guys on the show today. Brian, I'm just going to tell you, when I met your wife at War Heroes on Water, I was super impressed. You're a very lucky man. She is a badass lady, man.
Yeah, that she is.
Make me cry just thinking about it. When she got up on stage and shared a little bit of her story, gang, Brian, you weren't there, but the whole place got real quiet and listened to your wife. She's a badass. And so welcome, Jaime. I'm happy to have you here.
Thank you so much for having us. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my goodness. So we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to cover today. You guys have a lot of cool stuff going on in your lives. But first of all, Jaime, I just want to find out, how did you get involved in fishing? Because you're a girl.
Yeah. They don't really like them on the water these days, but we're trying to reinvent the wheel, break the mold, and lead forward for the little girls behind me. I've always fished my whole life. I grew up on the water in Massachusetts, Merrimack Valley, specifically in Methuen. It's right up on the New Hampshire line. The Merrimack River, I was always throwing plugs and dropping eels to catch striper, and same off the beach. And then as I got older, my dad got a Chris Craft, single screw. Thing was a beast. We'd go out and we would have like mackerel competitions and try to catch the mackerels, and me and my mom would always win on the bow, and my dad would come over and be like, "What are you doing?" And then from there it kind of escalated. We all got scuba diving qualified. I was 12 or 14 when I got my qualification, and we started lobstering recreationally. And then from there, it just kind of grew with me. Every time, I had troubles in my teenage years, we'd get all emo. I'd run off to the dock and go fishing all night. My parents were thinking I was out partying, and I wasn't. I was wrestling CEOs. So that's the kind of trouble I got into growing up. And then I joined the Navy. I was in the Navy for 6 years, and every place I went to, I dropped a hook in where I could, and tried to get on something. And if I wasn't dropping a hook, I was definitely swimming with those fish. So then I moved to Texas in 2016, and I heard that the Gulf was off the chain. So I hired a guide, and he felt really uncomfortable taking only me offshore. So he abbreviated it to a half day, and I wouldn't let him bait my hook. And so he kind of ended the trip after I caught the first fish and was like, "You're good, here's your money back." And then called me the next morning at like 3 o'clock in the morning and was like, "Hey, my deckhand's not going to show up. Do you want to come fishing with me?" And I was like, "What do you need me to do?" And he was like, "Well, I need you to run the deck and I'll pay you." I was like, "You're going to pay me to go fishing?" And he was like, yeah, let's go. And I was like, all right, I'll meet you there. And since then, I haven't left the water. I've just been running and gunning since May 2016. Professional.
Wow. Right. What? But we went so fast and we got all the way to that real quick. But back in the beginning days when you first started going fishing as a young lady, as a little girl, that was kind of a unique situation because there wasn't a lot of little girls fishing. So, and you to get into it as much as you got into it, the thing I like to talk about the most on our show is that we got to get children involved in this sport. This is super important. And you're an ambassador for the ladies. I had Heather Smith on last week. I've had Miranda Adams. I've had a lot of women that are into fishing on here because I think it's so important. We're missing the boat when we're not taking our daughters and our granddaughters out fishing, gang. And I just want you to understand
100%.
how important it is. It absolutely changed Jamie's life and molded her into the badass that she is today. And I want you all to understand. So go deeper into when you were little, how fun it was to go out on the boat and fish with your mom and do all that stuff that little girls were not supposed to do.
It was some of the highlights of my childhood, quite honestly. We go out to Wingersheek. I don't know if you know, like, the professional wrestler. Her name was China. We go out to Wingersheek, and she has, like, this big old mansion up on the cliff. And we'd go out there and have beach days, but we would go by boat. And I would go down and be swimming, and I'd look up, and she'd be standing on her patio overlooking the water. And I just always remember looking up at her, and she was so strong and muscly, and there was salt water everywhere. And I was like, I want to be like her when I grow up. But some of my best childhood memories were out on the boat. You know, I had a typical dad that was like, throw out the bumpers, grab the line, pull the boat in, you know, yelling at us everywhere. But it's still the positives outweighed it. And girls always catch the biggest fish, for the record. So you always should have one on the boat, especially if you want to be winning. Second, newbies always catch the biggest fish as well. So growing up and learning and trying to do all these things, I had to learn for myself because I grew up in the generation where girls didn't belong on boats. So few and far between was I requested or asked or invited to go fishing with people who actually went offshore. My dad's boat name was actually All Gulls, No Buoys. So he had no choice but to take all the gulls offshore. And he wasn't really weathered or vetted in offshore fishing in our area, but he tried very hard. I mean, we caught a lot of those Boston mackerels. I'll tell you what, man. But it just kind of lit something in me. And then my uncle Jaime, who I'm actually named after, he had a lake house up at Lake Winnipesaukee, and we would go there all the time fishing, and the boys would all go hunting. And again, I got left home, so I had to figure it out for myself. I had to figure out how to catch these big fish, figure out how to make the flag stand up the right way in the ice, and all the things. So I've always grown up on the water learning and fighting to get that hook, like fighting to get that fish. And I had to build myself from the ground up. And it's something I had in me that never really went away. And the older I got, the more I was able to feed it.
Yeah. And what I want you guys to understand is that what Jamie's telling you, that you guys need to understand, she got so she side up. She's childhood. Remember that when it's time. Remember that when it's time to, and you got a daughter, the neighbor's got a child that you're going to take their son. Think about this. You got to take their daughters, gang. It's super important. That's the future of our industry. As Brian, as a boat captain and as a yacht broker and as all the things you do, you know how important it is to get the girls involved. It's super important because if we got them involved, we get to keep our boats and do all the cool stuff that we do.
Exactly. You have to get the kids very involved in it. I mean, you know, in this day and age, it's a lot different than like when we were actually growing up when we were kids. I mean, it was just something that we did every weekend. I mean, it was either fishing. You went to school during the week, get out on Friday. Parents loaded you up on Friday evening. Down to the coast we went. spend all weekend down there fishing all weekend. That's what we did growing up, the whole time growing up. It's just something that you fall in love with. You know, the more you do it, the more you enjoy doing it. And but yeah, it's definitely important to get the kids involved, you know, especially this day and age, because there's so many things that these kids are doing nowadays. Fishing's not one of them.
Right.
So,
It's not even talked about in our schools. The last thing they want kids
I don't know.
doing is going outside and having fun.
Yeah, exactly. And it's right now, and it's even hard to even get kids to even go outside anymore. So you get kids on the
Right.
water, you get them used to getting on the water, get them on the boat.
Get them away from that
What
Wi-Fi.
kid does not like going on a boat ride? I mean, all kids enjoy boat rides, but it's not something that you see anymore. You're seeing less and less kids on the boats with parents. You know, it's like you see more parents but no kids. You know, so it's just something that you know, you got to get the parents to get to want to take their kids out as well. You know, not just leave them at home and let them just do what they want to do. Get them out there. They'll
Some
love
of
it.
our favorite trips when we were chartering together, I was working the deck and he was the captain, were when we brought the kids. There would be couples that would come and they'd bring their children and we'd take them offshore, and there is nothing funnier, more exciting, and more fulfilling than watching like a 7 to 10-year-old get bowed up on their first snapper. They're just like, don't let the pole go, hold on, oh gosh, it's huge.
Yeah.
And that the whole boat lights up, and this kid is like catching a fish of a lifetime. Then you see it like go from there over to their parents, and their parents just light up with all kinds of pride and joy and love to see their kid actually accomplish this when they were scared just to get him out there. And not only that they're out there, but they're hooking, they're reeling, and they're doing it all by themselves. Like, the children are resilient and they're capable of a lot more things than you think they are. It's just a matter of getting them out there and getting them slimy.
There you go. There's a good picture of family, huh?
That is my grandbaby right there, and that's going to be our next generation bringing up is getting them out fishing as well.
That's our granddaughter, Ashton, on the left. That was after her softball game. She's 4 years old. That's my son, Jacob, in the middle. He is 15. And then that's Blaine, our newest, our grandson. He just turned 1. And yeah, we need to get a picture of Brandon up
and their
there.
daddy as well is the captain as well. My son,
Yes.
you know, he's 25, and you know, he's a captain of a 68 Viking himself. And so, you know, his upbringing himself was just all around water and boats his whole life. And then that's where he's at now. He's captain of a big sport fish. Lose him?
Are you still there?
There he is.
Talk about so Brian also towards
So
yeah.
now, you know, I've been charter fishing for many years. Just here recently, about the last year and a half or so, I've actually got a really good friend of mine that I've known for many years. He actually broke off and started his own yacht brokerage service, and he reached out to me, and it's just been something I've been kind of looking at doing the last 5-6 years or so, and just never really took the initiative to do it. But anyway, he started this business here, and he reached out to me, and and I finally just like, you know what, the opportunity's there. I might as well grab it and roll with it and see what happens. And so I've been in this yacht business now for about 1.5 years with Gulf State Yacht Sales. Owner of Gary Hare and son Garrison Hare, some of the greatest people you ever meet as far as when you're coming in to buy a boat, and they've kind of took me in, put me under their wing, kind of showing me the way. There's a lot more to yacht brokerage than just knowing a boat. You got to know the boats, you got to know the ins and outs, you got to know just everything about the sales part of it, and it's just things that I'm learning right now. So it's just each day that I get a boat listing or I'm selling a boat, it's just more things that I'm learning about selling a boat. So Gary Hare has really done exceptional job in teaching me on how to get the job done as far as the yacht brokerage side of it. But yeah, Gulf State Yacht Sales is is what I've been doing here the last 1.5 years, and so far I love it. I mean, it's it gives me time to even still go fishing before I burn myself out on that because I do so much of it. So, But yeah, you can definitely, we sell boats. We can list your boat. You can buy a boat from us. I mean, we do it all. The only thing we don't do is we're not in the new boat sales yet. I know that may be something that could be talked about here later on down the road, but right now we're just a yacht brokerage for used boats. Uh, Anything from sport fish to outboard, center consoles, bay boats, you name it, we probably have it.
See that 46 Invincible catamaran right there? That thing's a beast.
So that 46 there, yeah, that's actually one of the boats that I've been running.
Yeah,
That's our
those
turn
Invincibles
that we
are
fished
beautiful.
the King Masters with Robbie Carter. He runs the King Masters.
So, and that's also
Fishing
the one that Jaime fishes, the Matagorda Mermaid that they've won multiple times.
That's an all-girls tournament.
That's an all-girls tournament.
And we take that beast right there. That's a 68-mile-per-hour boat cruising.
Yeah.
Look at that thing. That thing is beautiful.
It's a tank.
Look at that boat, Cubby.
And he's something like that down in Bisbee right now.
Yeah.
And our new, like our newest listing right now, I just put a 39 yellowfin, brand new boat. It's got 80 hours on it. Just this next one down low right here. And I just got that one listed just as of yesterday. It's a brand new boat with not a brand new price. Actually, it's a little less than brand new as far as the price goes.
I was trying to convince some California boys over there to get them a Go Fast boat to chase on them bluefin because that whaler was just, we need another 30 miles per hour, boys.
That's what they need. Definitely need that boat.
The fish are going down too fast. That whaler can get up and go, but that yellowfin will get on them way a lot faster.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep, somebody needs to get that out here on the West Coast. So before we go down this rabbit hole with Jaime and the War Heroes on Water, I want to show everybody a real quick video from Deckhand Sports because we're going to start talking War Heroes and we'll lose track of time. So let's show that video real quick, Elliot, from the Deckhand Sports. Dave and the gang over there, I want you guys to watch this real close and see these bags. Go ahead. So if you guys see how that bag's been designed, it's got those slats in there to keep your fish out of that slimy water. Most of the time in a kill bag, they're just laying in the slimy water on the bottom. But Dave went all out and figured it out. All the zippers and all the seams are all welded. They're not just glued. They're welded, so they no leaks. Guaranteed not to leak. If it leaks, you get it back. You get a brand new bag. They're never going to leak. And the way that he designed it, looks like an envelope almost. That makes it so and I know, Jaime, you've been there, when you unzip the bag, you can't unzip it with one hand while you're holding the Dorado or the Mahi in the other hand. But this bag, the way that he designed it, you can unzip it with one hand, drop the tuna or whatever you have in there. Look at that, that's a swordfish.
Got a swordfish in there.
I was going to say, that's a big old fish in there.
I saw Jeffrey Wilson said family. You guys know Jeff?
Know him real well.
Oh, my gosh.
That gentleman there, I call Pops.
Jeff's been on the podcast with me. Jeff's my hero. He came out to the West Coast and taught us how to fish.
Jeff is a lot of people's hero.
He taught us how to fish for swordfish, and we caught the only Opa he's ever seen. We got 146-pound Opa. It was incredible. Jeff's the swordfish guy. Jeff's an amazing, amazing.
He is the swordfish master. That's what I consider him.
Oh, absolutely.
He's a fine fella, man. I really look up to him a lot.
He's a really good human being, too. Besides being a phenomenal fisherman, he's just an all-around great human being. I really love that I get to call him a friend. And then he chimed on here and said, family, I thought you might know who he is.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah. Yeah, very well. Very well. Great guy.
So there's all the stuff about the kill bags, gang, if you want to check them out. And it's definitely a phenomenal product. You use the QR code we had up on the screen there. You're going to save 15% on the bag. If you didn't see it, if you're just listening as you're driving on Spotify or Mega, just go to deckhandsports.com, put in the code YSWG and the number 15 on your way out the door, and you're going to get 15% off on the bag. And he's got the bags like Justin and I use on the lobster trips. You can put it on a backpack, carry it off the boat with your lobsters in it, or he's got the bag that holds the swordfish. It's pretty spectacular. There ain't too many kill bags out there that hold the swordfish. Thank you very much for that, Jeanette. I know you have a plethora of them on your boat. And Robert, and we didn't tell you, Brian and Jamie, we're going to be throwing questions up on the screen. They'll come up like what you're seeing right now. If somebody has a good question, we'll throw it up there on the screen. If I miss it, you guys can go ahead and answer it. But now we're going to go down the rabbit hole to one of the greatest things that I've ever been a part of. And I'm a founding captain of this War Heroes on Water because of Anthony Shea and Rod Halperin. I was invited in the very beginning. It's a super important thing to me. It's near and dear to my life because I didn't do anything to deserve the life that I live. And I got to thank people like Jaime, and I got a lot of war heroes that are very close personal friends of mine now because of the tournament. And because of everything that you guys did, I get to live this bitchin' life and cruise around out here on the ocean on big bitchin' Vikings, do all kinds of cool stuff. And it's all because of people like you, Jaime. So can you tell my followers and everybody that's listening today, what was it like to get the invitation to come to War Hero? I'm going to let you talk for a while about this experience because whenever I talk about it, I get super teary-eyed. So you're on.
So I met a woman, another veteran, Amy Lockhart. I met her in Alaska at a Salmon for Soldiers event that they had hosted for disabled veterans. And I was following her on Facebook, and she had shared War Heroes on Water, and I had inquired about it. And she said, yeah, if you apply, like, you can go. And I was like, awesome. So I applied, and then out of nowhere, I got the email, and I told Brian, I was like, oh my gosh, I got accepted. They want me to go fishing. And from there, it was like, clear the schedule. Nothing messes with it. I'm going to California, and I'm going fishing. I've done a lot of nonprofit work. That's what I do with my spare time. I work for Wounded Warrior Guide Service based out of Missouri. And I give back to the veteran community. I'm new to the whole veteran community. I didn't know that there was actually even a community as such. I just got into this 2 years ago. Still applying while giving back. I really didn't think I was going to get picked. And then getting selected to go, showing up was the most overwhelming thing. I'm actually at a loss of words. So, like, if you could guide me, like, what do you want to know? Because all of it was just over the top. They rolled out the red carpet. They go above and beyond. I mean, I was on the fantail. So first we show up, we fly. We're in the tube that like goes into the plane. I forget what it's called. And there's just a bunch of veterans. You can tell when there's veterans, you just kind of know your kind. And they were all talking, and I was too nervous to say anything to them. So I just kind of sat there and listened. And then we flew there, we got off, and then they kind of were like, whoa, you were in Houston. Are you into this? And I was like, yeah. So then we go from there, we get on the bus, and we go to the hotel, and you walk in, and it's like all these, they didn't just greet you with a handshake. Like, everybody wanted to hug me. So that was really cool. They gave us all our gear, everything. They checked us in, and I was chomping at the bit. I was like, how long till we get on the water? So we got to go to Mr. Anthony's house, and it was probably one of the most breathtaking views I'd ever seen. And there's Mr. Anthony. The food was amazing. The conversation with the other veterans was awesome. the time just together, you know, it was worth it. It was well appreciated. I don't want to get emotional, but it was due in time. And I was grateful to have that opportunity and that downtime in that setting with those individuals, those like-minded individuals, to be able to bond with them and get to know them, and then meet the people that you're going to be on the boat with for 3 days. That I was really nervous about because, you know, a boat's only so big, and veteran trips can go many different ways. And fortunately, everything went great. The organization has things dialed in. This is out of control. That was so chaotic. So we get on the boat. The first night I'm on the boat, I did not want to go to bed. We're out there and I'm like present catching bait, and I'm like, when can we start soaking bait? What's the next thing we do? Like, what are we fishing for? The first thing I caught was a leopard shark, which I had never seen one of them. So that was really cool. It went off at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and he was like, you got something. It was me and Captain GJ. Everybody else was sleeping. I think Ryan was on wheel watch up top, Captain Ryan on fantail. And GJ's like, you got something, work it, go slow, whatever. And then we get it up, and it's like a 28-inch leopard shark. And I was like, is that a cartoon? You know, we're tired, exhausted, delusional. And all of a sudden this polka dotted shark came up. And so I took a quick look at it, let it go, because the other rod started going off. And it looked like a seal to me, quite honestly. I had one soaking on the bottom. I had one top water. It looked like a seal, but they say that they're actually smart and that they have a lot of dexterity in their mouths and they won't hit a hook. So I have no idea. And GJ didn't see it. Captain GJ didn't see it. The next day we started bottom fishing. Those are all the people. There's Val. There's me at the bottom. Mia's another veteran. Cindy. There's Kate, the cook. Oh, they were such a great crew. The next day we started bottom fishing, and we had caught some bait the night prior. They're like mackerel, but they're not the Spanish mackerel. They're not the Boston mackerel. They're different. Y'all have different mackerel down there. I grabbed the biggest one in the tank, and I dropped it to the bottom. And this toad of a lingcod came off. The mouth was huge. It was just spinning up with its mouth open, this gnarly, ugly thing. And then it was ginormous. I didn't even see those fish when I was fishing in Alaska, like that big. I did catch one, but not that big. And then shortly thereafter, caught a blue one, which I thought was really cool. I did a bunch of research on that after. It's genetic, and like only 25% of them have that color. So that was really cool. I felt special. It matched the boots that we got on the boat. And then we flew a kite for the rest of the half of the day, and we just could not get on the bluefin. Like, they were being really finicky. They would come up and they'd go back down, come up, go back down. So now we were down to the last day of fishing, and we were really pressed. So they brought out the tender and they split the crew up. They brought in Captain Joe. I want to say his last name is Freeman. Yes, sir. That dude was a champ. He had one jacket, a pair of jeans, and he was on the bow running those binos the whole time. And I just knew he was freezing. Like, he had to have been freezing his butt off. And he's up there, and there's really nothing to hold on to on the whaler. And then we'd mark him, and Mr. Joe, Fan, the owner of Fantail, he was running the boat, and we'd run over, and then they go back down, and then we're looking, we're scanning, and the whole time we're running the kite in the back with Captain Dave. He's a fly fisherman, and they had him come to help and to host us. And so it was like, kite up, kite down, kite up, go, no, pull it in, no, they're over there now, drop it down. I mean, at one point, the kite actually went swimming. So then we brought it back in to dry it off, and we had to unclip it. So we had the free clip, and it was so cold and rainy. The clip actually went overboard. Fortunately, it fell into the transom and hit the scupper. So when I tell you, like, all the odds were against us on this fish, it gets even better. It gets even better. So all the odds are against us on this fish. Like, it really was. And then we're down, like, to the wire now. We have 45 minutes left until we have to... No, that's when we finished. So we had like an hour and 10 minutes left until we had to weigh in. And they started busted. So we could either go, forget where we could either went northwest a little. That would have made us late for weigh-ins if we caught anything. There was no way we could make it back. So we decided to go southeast, more inland. And we had some intel from my inReach that there were fish popping. And everybody was working as a team trying to get all these veterans on the fish, which I thought was so cool. And we heard that they were popping in the south. So we started heading south, and we got there in about 20 minutes, and all of a sudden they just we call them pancakes. Y'all call them patties. But there were pancakes everywhere, birds all over them. And so then we started seeing like hundreds of porpoises. Or you have porpoises out there? Dolphin. We don't use that word in the Gulf because it might be a mahi. So we call them all porpoises, and they were just everywhere, pods and pods. And then all of a sudden it started going off. We hit the kite. We dropped the kite out. We missed a first bite. This toad completely skyrocketed, came out, saw the belly, the back, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to walk away and go watch the boat. Because usually when I watch the boat, the fish bite. And so I'm on the bow, and Joe's now working the kite because me and Valerie, she's a champ, and she is quite the personality. She's so much fun to fish with, by the way. We just were over the top with the anxiety of wanting to catch this fish and them all going back down. So I'm on the bow, and I've got my my microfiber, and I'm cleaning, and Mr. Joe's like, you don't have to do that. And I'm like, I'm boiling the water, baby. I'm boiling the water. And all of a sudden, you see, I looked up over the handrail, and I saw the splash, and I'm looking at Joe, and I'm looking at Joe, and I'm looking at Valerie, and I'm looking at Dave, and then Joe comes down, and he's like, over here. And I look at Val. I'm like, take the rod. That's you. Redemption. You lost your fish last year. And she's like, no, girl, I got to get one. I'm like, I'm not ready. And she was like, you're ready. Get on it. And I was like, I'm not. And she was like, yeah. And then Joe looks up, and he was like, get over here. I was like, okay. So I ran over, and they immediately tried to strap me into this harness thing. And I was like, no, let me feel my fish. He's like, you're crazy. They're strong. And I was like, let me feel the fish. Let me see what I'm working with. So the line starts dumping, and it's Captain GJ's setup. And I don't know if he's going to love me or hate me because I'm fixing to throw him under the bus. I tasted every color of the Skittles in Spectra. It was splice after splice after color after color. So we had the kite go fishing. We almost lost the clip. And now we're on tackle that's got no top shot. It's braid straight to the swivel. So it's concrete to fish's face. Then as the line starts ripping out, there's 12 different splices of Spectra. And I'm like, are you guys kidding me? Are you kidding me? Really, is this happening? And Joe is just like, you got it. You're doing great. You got it. So I start pumping it. I start bringing it up. And he was like, whoa. And I'm like, look, let me just, and he was like, here. Because I worked it for about 15 minutes, and then my back started hurting. And it was coming up really rather easy. So I thought it was smaller. It fought for the Gulf people watching, it fought like an amberjack crossed with a blackfin. So you have that sea donkey rip, and then you have that blackfin tail beat, and then it slows down, and then you get on it, and it comes up, and then you get the closer it got, the bigger the head shake. So you get that amberjack head shake, but then you get that beat of that blackfin. It was nothing like a yellowfin. It didn't pintail. It didn't make you question your life. Not yet, at least. And then, so it started coming up, and then it got to the point where they were adjusting the drag. And I was like, whoa. And then it took a run, and it almost took me over. He's like, okay, you're going in the harness. So then they strapped me up into the harness, and the harness was not made for a smaller framed individual. I kept sitting in it, and it kept sliding up my back, and they kept tightening it, and they were maxing out on the straps. They couldn't get me any tighter in it. And so finally I'm like, get me out of this thing. I'll figure it out. So they get me out, and I start using the gunnel, which is how I coach some of my customers offshore when they're fighting the reef donkeys. Foam on the fiberglass, listen to your own advice, Jaime. Listen to your own advice. And it comes up, and I'm like, oh, I see it. And Joe's like, you're all right. I'm like, I am all right. I was like, you good stick? You better be a good stick. And at this point, I start losing it. I'm like, this is a fish of a lifetime for me. This is a dream. I'm going to get emotional. The little girl in me has always wanted an opportunity like this. and I always got left at home. So it just came full circle, and then they pulled out this other gaff. I was like, where's the backup gaff? And it was a freaking rig hook, and I'm like, we're doing this. Like, we are doing this right now. We have, like, a gaff that is no bigger than my thumb and width for the stock of the gaff, and then we have a rig hook. Like, y'all better be good sticks, because I'm few and far between am I on the reel like this. And sure enough, it came up, and they stuck it, and then they got the backup gaff on it. And from there, I mean, there's like a really ugly cry face video that Valerie came in and got me, but like I lost it, and I was like, okay, just get into the boat. Mr. Joe came over, and you could tell he was like, I made him feel uncomfortable because I was so emotional. But yeah, there it is. It's a big old bugger. It came out. Yeah, there's a picture of me hugging it somewhere in there. Mr. Joe Freeman. I mean, it was Mr. Joe fan. There were a lot of emotions. It was very explosive. It was something, I didn't know who was crying, 10-year-old Jaime or 37-year-old veteran Jaime, but either way, all the dreams came true. Is that not the coolest thing in the world? Like, I put people on fish of a lifetime. They dream about it, and I work really hard, and here I am catching something I've dreamed about since I was a little kid. And I mean, I sat there, I prayed over that fish. I thank God for that fish. I mean, it was, I never thought I was going to be able to touch one, let alone be covered in blood by one. It was exceptional. It was one for the books. Like, I hope it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there for the veterans. Like, it only gets better. I heard Mr. Anthony talking about recruiting other boats and other people to come in for this, and I just really hope we're able to not only, 1, bring more boats to the table, 2, bring more veterans to the table, but 3, bring more females to the table. I think sometimes the society we live in looks at females like children, and you don't know what we're capable of. All we're looking for is opportunity and equality. And I live in a very conservative state, and I have been going against the grain my whole life. But I'm so very thankful for that opportunity. I'm so very thankful. Like, I don't have the words. It's still in my deep freeze. I haven't ate it yet. It's going to happen. But with everything going on from the storm, Mr. Fan, Captain Ryan, Engineer Canoli, Captain Mitchell, Captain Sammy, Captain GJ, Captain Joe, Captain Dave, all the people on the boat, like Cook Kate, like they went above and beyond for us in the hospitality, the camaraderie, the morale, like all the things they brought to the table. They were so kind, so sweet, so generous. And then, you know, the host, Mr. Anthony, and all the captains that, like, you guys really don't know what you're doing for us. Like, you don't, and it's worth it, and you're very appreciated. And a lot of stories were shared. We actually took 2 gentlemen back from Catalina Island, and we sat on the bow and just hung out and talked to them. And like, you just give us time and space and opportunity outside of fishing. Time and space and opportunity to be together and to talk and just to feel some kind of normalcy, even though, you know, we're all normal. What is normal? But just what it felt like before, but have it in the after. I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe the veterans will understand it, but it was exceptional. It was something I'll forever be grateful for. We only had 7 female veterans this year. I think there was 100 veterans. There were Purple Heart recipients. I think 14 Purple Heart recipients. 5 or 6 were amputees. I just hope all our numbers grow next year. They say, wow, as family. I'm privileged enough to have been invited at least 1 year, and I am more than willing to give up my space for somebody else to get the opportunities I got. But they say wow is family, and I really truly hope that family continues to grow. And there's other people like you, Captain Dave, or all the founding fathers of War Heroes on Water that come to the table and continue to give to the veteran community, because it's needed. It's needed.
It's Jaime, you couldn't have summed it up better. I mean, I'm over here, tears flowing out of my eyes, because this is so near and dear to my heart, because I've gotten to talk with people like yourselves and all the other war heroes that I've got to spend time around. And the number one thing that we found out by doing this, and the other guys that I know that have done this since the beginning, we had no idea how many lives we were saving by doing this. And it's absolutely incredible, because you don't know what the struggle is. You don't know until until you're around these war heroes and you get to hear the stories. But one of my favorite things is when you guys show up at the hotel, the new people that haven't been there yet, because like Anthony said when he was up on the stage, we understand that you guys are looking at it going, what do they want from us? Because this can't be real. Because you're flying there first class. Everything's done at the highest level, and it just
It
blows
felt
the
like that.
veterans' mind.
You're 110% right. When I walked in, I felt like it's trapped. I felt like it was fake. I didn't honestly know what to expect. I was super nervous. I had expressed to Brian that I don't know anybody. I only know, Amy going into this. Like, I'm so nervous. Is this for real? Is this happening? And he was like, just go. It's just fishing. It's just fishing. You're going to love it. Just go. I was like, oh, I'm going. But the nerves were real. They rolled out the red carpet, and sometimes you just don't feel like you're deserving of things like that. But by the end of the trip, everybody had drilled it into me. One, stop using sir, stop using ma'am, and you deserve to be here. And I was just like, whoa. Like, it was exceptional. It really was.
I want you guys to listen to this video. If we can put it back for a minute, Elliot, and just take our voices down and listen to this young man tell you the experience of this. Go ahead.
Before this trip, I tried to fight the battle on myself. I thought I was, strong inside. I could take on the world. And I found out as I got out, you're alone. Getting off that plane, seeing people I'd never met in my life. Different branches, the way we introduce ourselves. It felt like I was home. Like I had brothers and sisters who cared. You're not alone out here. A lot of people care about you. I didn't think it was gonna help me, but hey, I'm here today. It helped me a lot.
So
The sound shut off.
yeah, we got
That's
you now.
Amy. That was Mia and Amy.
Yeah, but I'm overwhelmed right now. I'm sorry, but
You're
this
okay.
is one of the most special events, you guys. Every one of you that are watching this show, if you have a boat, if you have an opportunity to volunteer your time, you need to come to Newport. Jaime, just explain to everybody how cool that parade is when you're driving through Newport Harbor by all these multi-millionaire and billionaires' homes, and they're
That
standing.
that was crazy. I actually
I've seen pictures of it. There was a wow factor there.
I FaceTimed and I was like, babe, look at this. This is crazy. It was, boats galore. The economy there is booming in the water world. Like, y'all have so many boats, big boats, little boats, yachts, sport fishers, center consoles. Like, they were just everywhere. And they all came out. Like they all came out to support. Everybody was red, white, and blue, American flag. Wow, this. And I was just, it was exceptional. It was the coolest thing it puts Texas boat parades to shame, for one, and everything's bigger in Texas, right? No, not necessarily here. Not compared to California when it comes to
Go all out for our vets.
yeah,
Really go all out for our vets.
That was definitely crazy. Click, there it is. And so it was definitely over the top. And so I also want to say there's a lot of people like tuning in from home. I don't share much about my veteran story. I don't share much emotion pertaining to my service. So there's probably a lot of people who are seeing me in a light they never saw me before. So this is something I kept very quiet. So I want to thank you for putting me on the show and making me brave enough to share just who I am in the veteran world. A lot of people here, I don't even think know that I'm a veteran. I just kept it to myself, and I kept quiet. So it's all of it is coming full circle. And I want to thank you for this opportunity, because I know there's going to be a lot of people that didn't know this part of me.
Well, I'm glad that you got to share it with all of us today. And thank you so much. Like I told you when you first said that you would come on my podcast, I'm honored to have you on here. And it's wonderful to meet your husband, Brian. And gang, I cannot emphasize enough. I talk about War Heroes year round. This is a year round fundraiser for the veterans, year round. And Anthony Shea has stepped up and put on this event called War Heroes on Water in Newport Beach, California, every September. We do not have the exact dates of when it'll be next year, but it will be in September. It's every year in September. And this year we took 100 vets fishing, and we want to take every single vet fishing. And what breaks our heart is when we drive around the harbor in the parade and see these big yachts tied up to the dock. You guys should all be involved. We need more boats. We need more volunteers. We always need more. We have plenty of vets. We hate leaving any vet on the dock. That sucks. We don't like that. So everybody that's listening, I challenge you to all get involved in this. It would be spectacular if you could get involved more. It would really help us out tremendously. Oh, you couldn't have said it any more eloquently, Jaime. You did a phenomenal job talking about it, and I think you touched a lot of people's hearts. Let's just talk for a few minutes now that you got us all crying. Let's talk about your husband's business and taking people fishing.
Well, I mean, it's what we do. It's what. There's Brendan.
That's my son.
That's his baby. So
what is that? Is that a tile fish?
Golden tile. Yes.
Tile.
That's a giant one too.
Down there, that's the biggest one I've ever seen. Are they rare?
There you go to. Sorry, his thing went down. They're not rare. You just need to know how to find them.
They're bottom fish. We're catching them in 1,000, 1,200 foot of water, right in the mud. They like the mud.
Oh wow! So you're just kind of dropping blindly. They're just swimming around in the mud.
Well, yes and no. A lot of parts you want to find little ledges, little holes. Where just say if you can find a ledge from 1,200 that jumps up to 1,000, you get right on the edge of that peak, drop down on the bottom. A lot of them, because a lot of them live down in burrows, so you can just sit there and just kind of slowly drift right off the edge of that ledge, and catch a lot of them tile fish right on the bottom. Though they're not a fish that you want to bring up, kind of like snapper fishing. A lot of guys want to drop to the bottom, bring it up 5 or 10 cranks off the bottom. No, right on the bottom. Leave it there. Matter of fact, weight on the bottom, weight up top where your bait can come down and lay flat on the bottom.
Oh, so you're laying it right on the bottom.
Right on the bottom.
Okay.
Across
just slowly kind of just drag it right across the bottom, and they bite kind of like a snapper on the bottom as well.
All right. And then what are we doing charter boat wise? Let's see if we got video or we got.
So charter boat wise, so this last summer I was running a 34 Freeman for charter fishing, and
nice.
Yeah, it's a great little boat. I mean, for what it is, I say for what it is, for the size of boat that it is, I mean, you feel like you're on a 37 almost. I mean, it's a real roomy little boat. So kind of when I picked up this yacht brokerage part that I'm doing now, I kind of started slowing down on the charter side of it, because I kind of wanted to get to the point where I wanted to start fishing when I want to fish, not when I have to fish. So I picked up this boat to charter fish last summer, and if I ran 15 trips this whole year, that's probably a lot for me this year. But I'm going to keep charter fishing next summer. I'm just going to kind of do the same thing I did this year. We're just going to kind of just do here and there type trips, not like 7-day a week, because I kind of want to push more of the yacht brokerage side a whole lot more, which kind of gives me a little bit more time to do other things besides just fishing 7 days a week.
Oh, I understand that one, Brian. That's
I'm also taking care of a 54 Viking as well. Just kind of doing that a part-time. I didn't want to do it full-time, so I'm just kind of doing it part-time. Just to kind of fill up my spare time that I do have, when that may be sometimes. So between that, charter fishing, but I'm only going to charter fish, just summertime. So now that our season's over with, charter fishing's over with, focus more on yacht brokerage, do that until the summertime, which I'm going to keep doing the yacht brokerage for sure, but I can also charter fish in between. So
absolutely. And then Jaime, what are you doing?
So I'm strictly for hire, and I'm any opportunity really. I do have my captain's license. I have my OUPV and my 25 masters. Unfortunately, I didn't want to wait the 18 months to wait for the Navy to validate my sea time for my 100-ton. And I had submitted my OUPV and my master's at the same time. So I said, just knock it down. Just take what I got. Give me what I got so I can start working. So this past summer, I worked for the last captain out of the Freeport jetties that I hadn't worked for yet. I needed to know the tricks of his trade on a party boat, a head boat, Action Charters, Matt Etai, and work the deck for him. And so we'll see what next summer brings. I'll stay commercial fishing when he needs me. I'll stay crabbing when they need me. I just try to stay on the water as much as I can and run trips when anybody needs me in the off season. So
she quit fishing with me about 3 years ago.
Church and state, man.
Oh, my wife's watching right now. She knows.
She knows. My boat, my deck ran smoothly when she was on the boat with me. Not a better hand on the water, that is for sure.
I think that's the hardest part of getting a wheel is people would rather me work the deck than work the wheel because they know I could take care of a boat and keep the deck running smoothly. Yeah. But if I get on a wheel, then who else are you gonna put on a deck? And the stigma of being a woman on the water, So I'm just waiting for the right opportunity to come along, and I mean I'll get there. I'm a woman on the water. You're gonna work twice as hard and 10 times as long to prove yourself. So I'm slowly chipping away at it.
Do you know this young lady?
Yes, that is my little sister Madison.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people watching, a lot of comments, a lot of good comments. You guys go back and look through this later.
So Nelson Taylor right there, he used to work the locks. He used to work the locks in the Intercoastal.
Oh, wow.
He was a lock master.
There you go.
Lock master. That's the guy you called to pull the bridge up?
Well, to open the locks. So we have locks on our Brazos waterway. So we have an east lock and a west lock. So when basically a floodgate. So when we get a lot of floodwaters up north and they start rushing down the river, they'll shut those locks to keep the flow of the river going straight out to the Gulf, so it doesn't divert into the Intercoastal.
Got it. Now I understand. All right. Yeah, because we don't have that kind of stuff out here on the West Coast.
Not on that West Coast. Nope. No, not over there.
Nope.
Oh, Nelson. He's a cool dude. He had a dog that he'd tell his dog to go get him a beer, and he would run down all the way to the ice chest on the boat, and he would knock over the ice chest, grab a beer, close the ice chest, run all the way back up to Nelson and give him a beer.
All right, Nelson.
True story. True story.
What a cool dog.
He just got himself a new pup a couple days ago. So, yeah, I hooked him up with a new dog. So hopefully that's working out, Nelson. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, everybody, thanks for watching. Gang, we got these guys on the show here for about 5 more minutes. If you have any questions you want to throw out there on the screen, we'll do our best to try to answer them for you. And then
I did see one question. Brian and
Brian
I.
and Jamie, let everyone know if you have a chance. Let them all how to get a hold of you guys, how they can get a hold of the brokers, how they can get a hold of
with the brokerage. So with the brokerage is Gulf States Yacht Sales. We have a big website. There's actually, when you go into the website, you'll see couple different people's names. You'll see the owners, the co-owner's son, with me, a couple other brokers that we have. They'll be listed on there, but you can definitely look me up on the website. If you have any interest in selling your boat, buying a boat, you can definitely reach out and call me. And if we don't have it, if we can't do it, I would be more than happy to point you in the direction or help you get one. Anything I can.
And he also does the boat deliveries.
And I also do boat deliveries. Yeah. I'm actually leaving on the 5th, headed to Key West on a 65-footer. We're dropping it off, flying back. And so I try to do as many boat deliveries as I can during the winter.
Are you guys there?
Kind of slow. Love doing boat deliveries. Get away from home for 5 or 6 days. It's nothing better.
Oh, yeah. And it's better when you do a boat delivery when the owner's not there.
Correct.
Yeah.
I just so happen to have one of those going with me on this trip.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
So I told my guy that goes with me, his name's Charles, and I try to let him know, because he's an engineer. I mean, he's probably one of the better guys you can have on the boat in the engine room. Very sharp guy. And he's the same way. He's much rather be on the boat without the owner. But hey, sometimes they want to ride with you, and I don't mind. I really don't mind, but I get more things done, and I can get a whole lot further and a lot quicker without anybody on the boat distracting me.
My good friend Darren has a question for you guys. Can you see it up on the screen?
I can't see.
We are based out of Surfside, Texas, Surfside and Freeport, and yes. We're actually living in a camper right now on account of Hurricane Beryl and the damage we took to our home. The demo for the remodel starts on Monday. So, yeah, Hurricane Beryl got us pretty good down here in the coastal plains. So we're just south of Houston. You go straight down 288. You'll go through Freeport, Surfside, and then you go out the Freeport jetties. So that's where we're out of, Mr. Darren.
I'm gonna get this moved.
There you go, Darren. Now you know. Now we all know. Yeah, I was wondering how that hurricane affected you guys. Now we know. It was pretty scary, pretty amazing. And if you're in Florida, you got back-to-back hit by two in a row.
Yeah.
And, that's another thing that's kind of keeping me on. So, I have this delivery coming up. And I've been calling the last 2 or 3 days just trying to find my regular fuel stops that I use. No fuel. Docks are closed, shut down. So now I'm getting with that boat owner and letting him know that, we start heading over that way. Once we get to Florida, we may get held up, because there's just going to be nowhere to get fuel.
Yeah.
At least until you get to Fort Myers south, you can get fuel. Unless if you go up in the north around Clearwater area, Tampa area, there's, I think, a couple of little stops inland on the bay side, not on the Gulf side, but you get inland in the intercoastal, kind of out of the way. You can get a fuel. There's a couple of fuel stops, but nothing that's going to be interest of us because we're trying to make a straight shot. So,
right. Yeah, it's scary. I had Jimmy from Everglades Fish Company on the podcast Saturday, and he was talking about all the devastation and damage that occurred. The whole western coast of Florida just got annihilated, gang. Like you can't
really
even
bad.
But you guys didn't make it out okay either, though. Obviously, you're living.
Well, the hurricane that hit us,
it was in July.
It hit us pretty head on here, and I tell you what, there's a lot of parts of this area that did get destroyed pretty good, but a lot of it made it out pretty well. And fortunately, there was not a lot of devastation here. So they got us back online pretty quick. I think we're mostly out of power. This whole general area for about
10 days.
Yeah, I was going to say 5 to 8 days.
So we had the drought last year, which means
10 days about the most.
The roots were all loose, and we live in like Post Oak Central. And then we had all the torrential rain and wind coming in. So it really, it was the trees that took us out here. The waters receded just a couple hours after the rain stopped, but it was really the trees that got the best of us here.
Well, if you guys have ever been down to where they're talking about, if you go down there, it's amazing. It is about as flat country as you can possibly imagine. So it doesn't take a lot of water to make a mess there.
No.
I was blown away when we were looking around. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, there's a hill. Nope.
You would almost think we're a sea level.
Right. Exactly.
Our threshold, the threshold to our house is 23 inches below sea level.
Below sea level. Wow, that's incredible.
But
well, gang, I want to thank you all for watching the show today. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about Jaime. You guys, I can't thank you enough for being on the show. You have no idea how many lives you touched, Jaime, today. This has been an incredible show. Brian, thanks for letting us borrow her for a little bit. And
absolutely, anytime.
Her story is an incredible story. You have no idea, Jaime. You've touched a lot of people today. You've changed a lot of people's lives, I promise you. You are an awesome young lady. Thank you very much. And we're going to tell Anthony, my producer works for Anthony, so he's going to get a direct line to this show, and he's going to get to hear all the kind things you said to him. So
thank you so much. If I was more personal with him, I would be able to do that. So thank you for extending this to him. Y'all are amazing and have done great things. There's nobody's path is greater or lesser than anybody else's. We all have our own struggles, and we don't even know each other's struggles. So giving us that opportunity in that space to learn about each other is just everything we could have wished for that we didn't even know we needed. So you're very, very appreciated, very from the bottom of my heart.
All right, you guys, thank you very, very much. Everybody, share this show. Share it with your friends. I know you want to tell everybody what you guys got to listen to today. Do us a huge favor. The three of us would really enjoy it if you shared this with all your friends and family across Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Apple, Megaphone, YouTube, everywhere that we go live. Share. It'll help. It could save someone's life. You have no idea. So share this. Brian, Jaime, thank you guys so much for being a part of the show. We're going to go now. We're going to move on, and thank you very much for being a part of it. We really appreciate it.
Good luck in that tournament, and hopefully I'll catch another one.
Yep, keep an eye on us on Catch Stat, gang. We released a blue a little while ago. I heard some people congratulating us. It was too short of a fish.